Hello again, everyone. It's Wednesday afternoon, and I am going to continue building the Ghostbusters Ecto-1 scale model kit. This is the beginning of issue 3. As I mentioned last time, instead of doing a separate magazine for each build, with the Ecto-1 they are doing magazines that have 4 stages each. So this is issue 3, part 1, which is stage 3 of the assembly. Now, because this is in stages, the book is laid out in stages. So that is the build we're going to do, which is continuing the bumper and grill from last week. And I'm going to get started. So, again, Wednesday afternoon, I am home from work, my current one day in the office, which is still a weird experience. Apparently, one of the people that I report to thought I was out on vacation all last week, which is pretty funny, and explains why they weren't trying to assign me any work, and I was kind of managing other people myself with no input. That's just fine. I don't really need a whole lot of micromanaging, and I prefer not to be micromanaged, so I found out this afternoon they thought I was out on vacation all week, and that was pretty funny. I don't know how something like that happens, but there you go. I did take 2 hours off on Monday last week to go to the beach, which was fun and caused me to get pretty sunburned. I'm fairly pale-skinned, but my oddball mix of ancestry means that most of the time, as long as I don't burn too badly, it turns into tan, which I think this is doing. It certainly looks like tan, but it's also peeling, and usually for me that's a sign that it's not going to turn into tannin today, so I don't know what's going on this year. Okay, got the plastic all taken apart. So the first thing we do is we actually go back to issue 1, and we're going to be installing the license plate from the very beginning. So, hopefully we got all the screws. I'm supposed to have AP, BM, and DP. These are the DP screws, BM screws, and AP screws. Looks like we got everything. So step 1 of this stage is to take the front bumper, chrome plastic front bumper, and install the license plate. The license plate is held on with 2 BM screws because the license plate itself is a die-cast and painted piece. So get a couple of these screws out, and I think that's all the metal screws in this kit, or in this week's kit. Get this off to the side. And I do have the assembly from last week here off camera, because that is where a lot of this other stuff is going to go. Or at least add on to. So we're going to have a fairly large stage put together when we're done this week. What's going on in the world? We had the remnants of hurricane or tropical storm come through yesterday. We had a lot of wind. And a little bit of rain at the beginning, and then it was extremely windy and very bright and sunny, which was a very strange combination. We had little wispy clouds, but they blew through super fast. And somebody I was talking to today said actually there's some known meteorological phenomenon where you get that super windy weather right after the clouds and the rain clear out. It has something to do, I think, with pressure systems moving around and chasing each other. So, there is the Ecto-1 license plate installed in the center of the bumper. I'm going to put that aside for now. We're coming back to it later, and we're going to start assembling the fog lights. So, the fog lights come in a left and a right, obviously. And they are symmetrical, but not identical because of that. So, there's definitely a left and a right. And they did mark the pieces, L1 and L2, which is nice, and L and R for the lenses. So there's lenses and there's reflectors that go in all of this. So this is the first reflector. It's a little bit of clear plastic. It's probably hard to see on camera because it is clear. There's tiny little details in the lens, like Fresnel lenses, but I think there's no LEDs going in here, and I don't know how visible those marks are going to be after the fact, but yeah, we'll go from there. Not sure if there's a top and bottom orientation of this, so I'm relying on the L marked in the picture. I'm hoping that that's drawn correctly. I don't think there's really a difference. These appear to be symmetrical, top and bottom. So I don't think there's an issue. So then there's two of these reflectors, and they actually have, again, if you can see it, there's a little fake bulb molded in there to go behind everything. So we'll see what these look like once they're assembled. And these are placed in and attached with AP screws. So I'm going to get this in place as best I can. Okay. Get some AP screws out. Start with 4 of them, I think, because there's 2 each for the 2 reflectors. That could have gone better. Yeah, the lenses or the reflectors here don't really hold in place until you get a screw in. They're not pegged in to start with. So I've got to get these screws in loosely and then make sure they're fitting right. So, this is a bit tricky. The first one went in okay after that first hiccup. Getting this one in place is not going as smoothly. The hole doesn't quite seem to line up right, so there we go. Got that one part way in, got the other one part way in, start tightening them down. Again, this is going into plastic, so we don't want to over-tighten because they will crack. It doesn't look too bad. So, there's a single reflector installed, and you can see the clear plastic on the other side. And you can see a fair amount of the detailing in that lens piece with that in there. Not too bad looking. So then we've got the other reflector. I got a lot of cardboard dust on my mat this time, opening everything up. So that one fits in okay. It was actually easier to get placed. Load the screwdriver up. Kind of want one of those screwdrivers that has the little sleeve around it. I feel like that would help with these very small screws. That didn't work as well as I had hoped. So, how's everybody doing? It's now August. It's still very hot. I hate August. I don't think I've had a good August in, probably 6 or 8 years now. Every August, everything seems to kind of implode in my life. This is starting off real well. I've got I pulled something in my neck, or maybe pulled or tore something, I don't know, and I've got this amazing pain in my back of my head and the top of my head, and it kind of comes and goes. It'll be good for 10 or 15 minutes, and then it'll feel like somebody's jamming an ice pick into my brain, and then it'll be good for 3 or 5 minutes, and it does it again, and then it'll be only 30 seconds, and it kind of just seems to cycle up and down, and I have no idea where to go from here. But that is the assembled left, I believe that's the top left orientation of the headlight. Fog lamp, rather. This is actually going to go below the headlight and go on the rest of the bumper. This is going to be shortly attached along the side here to fill in more of this, so you can see part of the bumper on that. So put that off to the side, build the other one here. It's really the same process, so we'll run through this one quickly. Get the lens in. Again, I'm going to try to orient it. They actually show in the picture with the R in the lenses upside down. So that's what I'm doing. It's actually molded in the, that's funny, the R inside the housing is also molded in that orientation. So maybe when it's assembled, that's the top? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Right from the perspective of the vehicle, from the driver of the vehicle, rather than from looking at the vehicle from the outside. Again, I was making that mistake last time, confusing an external observer for the occupant.
I don't know that.
Thanks, computer. You're very helpful today, answering questions I didn't ask.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
I know you're not sure. Come on. Yeah, that is my Alexa device there, one of them. I have a sort of a home automation thing going. It works. It's not great. The lighting stuff all works fine. I just don't know if the other end of it ever really works right. I got a fancy one with a screen in my living room, and the speakers on that are pretty good, and the microphone on it is awful, and it almost never has any clue what I'm asking it for, which makes controlling things like the lights a real pain. I don't know why this doesn't want to fit. There we go. It had to click in a little bit because I dislodged it when I put this other piece in the first try. Let's see, other things. The slow repair work on my desktop computer, which was having a memory issue. I sent the memory out for warranty replacement, repair, whatever they do. I guess it's normally replacement. I don't think they can really fix RAM all that well. Helps that I was putting this in upside down. They finally sent it back to me. UPS got very confused. Tracking was all over the place. It was showing it left the state, and it went somewhere else, and then it came back to the state, and then it went all the way out to California, where it was trying to go, and it got almost out for delivery, and then it said out for delivery, and then later that day it scanned back to the original location, and nobody's ever heard from it since. Except that, obviously it got delivered, because it showed up, the replacement kit showed up yesterday. Which, you know, the company didn't give me any notification that they'd gotten it, and I wasn't really expecting them to, but I had no idea if it had been delivered or not, so I have initiated a claim with UPS for that. And I told them, hey, if you find it, just forward it on, and either they found it and got it to them, which I really doubt, or it was already there and they just never logged that it was delivered. So hopefully they will figure out that they delivered it and they just didn't log it, because I obviously don't need a claim at this point. If they get in touch with me, I'll let them know. I don't have any. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let me initiate the claim directly. I had to go through the, you know, I shipped it with a UPS store who apparently is not actually UPS, and UPS would not treat me as the shipper. They said I had to go through them, so I gave them all the information and they initiated it. So we'll see where it goes from there. Obviously, like I say, it got delivered. The replacement came back to me. And it's not like one of these situations where they were sending me out a replacement anyway. I didn't give them any, you know, billing information for in case they didn't get mine back. If you've ever sent something for a repair, some companies will send you a replacement with like a down payment on your credit card, where you say, okay, if you don't get my original part back in X amount of time, I authorize you to charge my credit card. But they didn't make me do that, and I wouldn't have anyways. I would have just told them to deal with it and, you know, get it and send it to me. But some places let you expedite it in case you want something back real fast. And I really didn't need to do that, because I was down to, a pitiful 32 gigabytes of RAM from my normal 64. So I'm currently running memory test just to make sure everything's good. But there's the right-hand fog lamp installed. And we are moving on to attaching these to the bumper itself. So we take the bumper, we take these other, quite a bit larger DP screws. And I did check against, because the those long ones, the CP screws, do not match the CP screws in the DeLorean kit. So I do have to keep all the screws separate. And the bags are labeled differently. These have little stickers on them. And the DeLorean ones actually have cards, little loose cards in the bag. So it's pretty easy to tell which are which. I can't imagine I'd mix the bags up. But I have been combining bags in the DeLorean kit as I get them, because I don't need 30 bags all labeled the same thing, each with one screw in it. It wouldn't make any real sense to do that. Okay, so these go on with the little screw tab here at the top for alignment. And they go together. Let's get that put together. With the, like I say, larger bit DP screw. Fits through clean on the bumper, and then screws into the fog lamp, if I can do it. There's got to be a better way to... These don't have a flat surface to really put them down on to make this work right. That didn't work at all. Let's try this again. There we go, got a little bit of bite. Now once it bites a little bit, you can let gravity and the screw do the work. And hopefully now that one of those is in, it'll be a little easier to get the other one in. It's a little loose. Let me see if I can tighten it. I really can't tighten it anymore. So it's a tiny bit loose at that joint. It's not rattling, but I can feel a little bit of wiggle. And it's going to get held together against other things, so I think that'll get soaked up, and that may actually be useful for getting everything else lined up, so maybe it's not a big deal. Okay, that didn't work. These pieces do not balance at all, so I've got to hand line them up to get the screw started. And again, once the screw's got some bite, then I can go ahead and tighten her down. And let the shape of the plastic hold everything together. So, that is the bumper itself, fog lamps, and the license plate. And now this is going to attach to the grille and headlamps that we had before. Actually, that's the top. So, there's tabs on the bottom that this is going to fit onto. And 3 screws are going to hold it on there, more of the DP screws. So, yeah, that's going to go together like that. Gets 3 screws in from the back side. Again, these large diameter DP screws. These are probably, if the CP screws were twice the length of the AP screws, these are twice the diameter. So quite a bit more bite to them. Relatively coarse threads. If I can get this started. Oh, it's got to fit through that. There we go. Get it part of the way in. Get the other 2 in so we know we don't screw up the alignment. Again, these are going into plastic, and they cut their own threads, which means if you get the alignment too far off and you screw it all the way in, you're never going to get the other ones lined up, because it kind of permanently attaches wherever you get it. And get the third one in. Started. There we go. And we just tighten these all up. And this is just about the end of this. Got all the pieces from this kit used. None of this hold a piece over for next time. Just double check them all carefully. Okay. And that looks pretty good, I think. So there is the bumper and front grille, headlights and fog lights, and the license plate for the Ecto-1. It's really coming together. That's a pretty solid front end going. So next week is going to be a short video for this. I believe we're on a tire again next week, just like what Back to the Future's been doing. Yeah, that's correct. If you are interested in more of this video, you can go back and start on episode 1. I'll put the playlist in the corner. And we also have the Back to the Future episodes that I make on Saturdays. So I'll put that playlist up as well. And if you like what you see, go ahead and keep watching. Have a good one, guys.